best part of this is that the light bar is behind the frame. So as I go through brush or hit things, it's not going to damage the light bar as easily as if it was mounted outside the frame. So as you can see, when I turn on the switch, my lights come on. I'm on low beams right now. When I hit the high beam switch up here on my handle, the light bar kicks on. It should give me a lot more visibility at night, and it's not the harsh white light that a lot of the LED lights are. So I decided on a final location to mount my light bar. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to mount the light bar in this area. And how I'm going to mount it to the ATV is by mounting it to the winch plate down here. It's just a simple winch mount plate. And what I did is I wallowed out the holes a little bit bigger so I can fit the bolt through here. And then I cut out this section because it's going to fit where the fair lead fits. So the rope will go through here. And so I had to cut out this bottom section. I'll mount the fair lead on top, and then I had to drill 2 new holes here on the top, because right here is where you'd normally mount the winch, but I drilled 2 holes behind it. So what this will do is it'll set in there. So when I put this in, I'm going to put spacers here that'll set this light bar right in the middle of this second hole here, and that's where it'll end up. But it's going to be mounted to the frame of the ATV off this winch plate with the fair lead right in front of it. The only thing I need to do now is put in the spacers and put bolts in here. So what I need to do is figure out which wire is activated by the switch on my handlebar. If you look down here underneath behind the radiator, there's a plug. This is the plug that plugs into the headlights. So what I've done is I've hooked the black wire to the outside wire, the red wire to the inside, and when I flip the switch, I've got a positive, almost 12 volts. Not quite, but that's enough to trigger my relay. So I got 11.67 volts on this wiring harness. So I know that the outside edge is black, the inside one is the high beam on the light. So what I need to do over here is take this one and see the orientation of the plug, and I'll be able to see which one I need to tee into to give me positive and negative. So what I have here is the plug that I tested, and you can see there's 3 pins in there. The way that plug sets, it plugs in like this. So I'm saying the green is the ground. This blue wire with the black stripe is the high beam. That's the way my testing showed up. So what I want to do is cut back in this insulation a little bit and pull out a little bit of this high beam wire and splice into this blue wire, and I'll tie that to the trigger of my relay. That way when the switch is turned on for my high beams, it'll activate not only the high beams here on my plastics, but it'll also light up my light bar. Now I have myself a trigger wire, and then I can plug it into the relay. So I'll just put a female end on this and I'll plug it into the relay, and then my light bar will be ready to be activated. So go ahead and strip that back. So I got that connected. I've got my light bar sitting down on the ground, and I have a ground and a positive wire coming out from the relay I've already installed in the machine. I'm going to make sure that all the wiring works before I put everything back on. So I'm turning on the key, and the lights are on. So now when I hit the high beam switch, hopefully the LED light bar comes on. So it works. So now I'm confident that my wiring all still works. Winch still works. Hand warmers are on. Everything's working the way I wanted it to. So I've temporarily mounted the light bar down here in the lower radiator just to test it before I make the final decision. There are 2 holes where the radiator gets air. The upper one is the larger one, and this lower one, it's getting blocked by the light a little bit, but these have never overheated on me. We don't go places that hot. We don't work them that hard. I think we'll be fine to have this here. There's still a lot of airflow around that we can get air up into there. So I don't think it'll matter, but the best part of this is that the light bar is behind the frame. So as I go through brush or hit things, it's not going to damage the light bar as easily as if it was mounted outside the frame. And I'm on low beams right now. When I hit the high beam switch up here on my handle, the light bar kicks on. It should give me a lot more visibility at night, and it's not the harsh white light that a lot of the LED lights are. So I think this will be nice. Ta-da!